Hi.
Hello. How are you doing?
All good. Yeah, see, teacher.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
How was your week?
Busy week with auctions.
How were the auctions?
They went pretty well. I mean, yes, yeah.
What were the highlights for you?
Um, well, there was a painting by Magritte,
Yes, the
so
Magritte. Yes.
90, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, $100 million, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, uh, I mean, uh, it's kind of I mean, somebody asked me why I thought it went for that
Yeah.
much. There's a series of paintings of the Empire of Empire of Lights, and you know what it looks like? It's
Yeah. Yes.
sort of nighttime, but the sky's sort of
Yes.
blue. So it's such a typical image from Magritte. I
Yes.
I think that, I mean, I said rather frivolously, I think that there are probably two billionaires who had had this as a poster when they were at college or something. In other
Yes.
words,
Yeah.
it's something that
And now
people,
you, yeah.
it's very familiar, right?
Yes. No. Yeah. No, that,
No,
yes.
I'm rich enough, I can buy it, and there's only one left, and
Yep.
it
Yeah.
used to belong to a record mogul,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know. Um, the big news was made by a banana
Banana
tape.
taped to a wall. And this one was previously at Art Basel, but tell me your thoughts, your feelings, your
Well, I'll tell you, there are two completely different parts to this. One, um, Maurizio Catalan he's a well-established satirical artist who's been
yes,
making works for about 20 years, had major
yes,
one of his, I mean, I've seen a couple of his pieces. One very elaborate one is an effigy, I mean, a very, very lifelike sculpture of Pope Paul having been struck by a huge rock
huh,
that presumably come through the ceiling of the Vatican, and
huh,
he's kind of on his knees. But the whole thing is completely realized. It's like a room.
yes, yeah.
Um, and another one he did, which is very effective, which sold actually for years. Well, I think in 2016, no, 2019 for $16 million is well, you could say it's an effigy of Hitler if he's about 3 feet tall
Yeah,
and he's on his knees praying,
uh,
and it's just called him.
yeah,
Oh, and he made a solid gold toilet seat. I mean, solid gold toilet, which
yes,
was installed at the Guggenheim
yeah.
Museum.
No, okay, that I remember. Yes,
So he's got a history there. They're basically conceptual ideas.
hmm
They're realized
yes,
one form or another.
yes,
Um, they're usually in editions of three, probably. So you can there these other works are owned by people.
right,
So when he did the banana is called Comedian.
yes,
And he did it's an edition of three. I guess his dealer sold them back in Art Basel. I think they were like $150,000 or something.
uh-huh,
So what you actually get is a certificate. What you're buying is a certificate,
yes.
and you can I think they give you get a roll of tape, but it doesn't the nature of the materials. It's not what the work of art is. In other words,
But okay, but who gets to hang the banana? I know the banana has to be exactly 160.
you get
You
it. I mean,
you can hang it yourself, but you
well,
own
you
the
have
rights.
to. In
You
fact,
well,
you
you
have
have no. The artist's not going to come to your house. No, okay. And I'll to get okay. When I went to the Andy Warhol Museum, you can go into a room and experience silver pillows, and they're floating around you, and they're but they're not. these are newly manufactured, and
Yeah.
some staff member is inflating them. Andy didn't do
Yeah.
it, but it is still the real art. It's licensed by him, and you're in the room as he conceived it. It's
Yeah.
yes. So this is
Because the ones that were made for the exhibition that I think I may have seen, they were fragile and fugitive. I mean, they just wouldn't
right,
have lasted anyway. So
right.
it's an idea.
Yes,
You get a certificate. The certificate tells you how to place it on the wall. You have to buy your own banana. It's probably no good after 6 or 7 days.
well, yeah, 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 yeah.
So, I mean, but the same is true of Dan Flavin sculptures, which are just those fluorescent tubes,
Right.
which are different colored fluorescent tubes.
Yes.
He and his estate, because he's dead, say that the only work of art is the certificate. If you don't have the certificate, you don't own it.
Yeah.
Because you can replace those tubes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So you have a certificate, it tells you you own this, 3 people own this. Anybody could make an imitation one, I
Yes.
guess.
Yep.
But so he did that. There were 3 of them, he sold them. Okay. So that's kind of the end of his involvement.
Right.
So one of the people who bought them, decides they want to offer it at auction.
Yes.
Right. Now, at that point, I think all kinds of questionable practices kick in, because Sotheby's realizes this is a potential for a stunt, which will get lots of publicity.
Right.
They are offering it for sale, and the owner is going to give it up. They decide they're going to accept cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And I think probably a lot of what subsequently happened was orchestrated. I mean, I was there when it was being sold, and so there were 2 guys who came into this, who there were 2 young Asian men wearing more or less identical white casual outfits, who were sitting in the audience wearing T-shirts that had that on them, the banana on them, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, I didn't know when I saw them, I didn't know that maybe they're just fans,
Sure.
maybe.
Sure.
Well, actually, they started bidding, and they bid it up to $1.5 million.
Yes.
So the person who bought it is a cryptocurrency billionaire called Justin Sun, S-U-N,
Yes.
who is quite controversial in the cryptocurrency business.
Okay.
He has his own cryptocurrency,
Yes.
but Sotheby's was saying they would only accept this kind or that kind. I don't know enough about it, but basically, Justin Sun also bought a Giacometti sculpture 3 years ago for, I don't know, $90 million at Sotheby's, and he posted, as soon as he bought it, he posted that he'd bought it, what he paid for it, and he's monetizing. He'll do this. He did the same with the banana. He's monetizing it immediately by making NFTs.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he had other people bidding him up because he wanted to pay a price that would get
attention,
and it didn't really matter to him what it was,
because pay
money. I mean,
well, he apparently has gone on record as saying he plans to eat the banana, but then again,
anybody who owns this piece, once it starts to go back, But there was the inside story discussion, of course, for those of us who attend the auction. We know that on the corner of York Avenue and 72nd Street outside Sotheby's,
Yes.
there's a guy with a fruit stand.
Yes. Yeah.
And apparently this banana was purchased from him.
Yeah. Good.
and
Buy
he's
local.
from-
Buy
he-
local. Yeah.
Yeah, well, wait a minute, he's from Bangladesh.
But local. The shop.
He
I mean,
did-
local. Yeah.
But the problem is that word on the street is that even on the Upper East Side, bananas go for 25 cents.
Yes.
So I mean, he was overcharging for the banana that was somebody paid $6 million for.
Yeah.
The next morning, I got an email saying from some German television station, could I please be available at 1 p.m. or something? And I said, I'm absolutely not. No. I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to get sucked into that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Catalan had a show at the Guggenheim. I mean, he's a serious artist.
Sure.
Some of his things are more interesting than others. He's Italian. He seems to have an Italian sense of humor
Sure.
and history, and maybe religion. I don't know.
Mhm.
Things that he pokes at are kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
He's done a number of pieces where he's done one which is very elaborate, where if you buy it, you literally have to have a hole in your floor, and it's an effigy of him.
Yes. Yeah.
Popping up like
Yeah.
this.
No, that's good.
He's got a
Yeah.
funny face. I mean, he's got an interesting face, long nose,
Yeah.
and he makes himself, he caricatures himself
Sure.
in these works. So I think he's more likely to have a little place in the history books more than Banksy, for instance. But the banana auction was the same kind of stunt as the Banksy.
Yeah, the shredding. Yeah. No, I felt that too. And that was my general sense. And has the artist himself said anything about the auction or sale? Because like you said, he's sort of, once he sold them.
I don't think so, but I didn't read a lot of coverage. His point about making it originally
Yes.
was it was a reference to in people using art as investment. I mean, in other words, it was like, well, how about this? You know?
Yeah.
You know,
So right.
No.
Yes, and I remember that at the time. I mean, it was obviously, and this is at an art fair. It was a thumbing of the nose, or sort of to
it was
all of
a
it.
nose thumb, but now it's backfired. Well, it's either you could say it's backfired, or it's totally proved him to be.
It is the logical conclusion of what.
Yeah, it's the logical conclusion.
Yeah.
That's very good way to put it. It is. Yeah. So there, you know, now.
So there, but then, but then I guess full circle, turning it into
there are two others out there.
Right. Yes. No, but the
And
money.
I really, really wonder if somebody owning one of the others is going to put it. If an auction house, either auction house, is going to try and do it again.
Right.
You know, whereas if it was a sculpture in an edition of 3, I mean,
Yes.
a solid object, they would, you know, because there was a lot of underbidders. There were a lot of people who bid on this, but I wonder if they weren't all. I think they were all from the same category of. I don't know how to put it without being. Putting down the crypto world, but I mean they're crypto bros.
Right. No, I'm fine with that, though. It's apparently a growing world that encompasses.
I don't want to slur, but I've met some of them, you know, at art fairs, and
Yes.
you can have a perfectly good, reasonable conversation with them, except when it comes to discussing a work of art because they don't have any concept
Yeah.
of that it could be something that has good quality or bad quality or has any qualities at all. For them, it's just a thing.
Yeah, no, it is a data point. It
It's
is a
a unit. It's a
yeah,
data.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally get that. Yeah, no, well, tech bros
So,
make up this city. But what? Okay, what else? So those two made the national news. I heard about those. What else? What was there any
well,
smaller sales or
I would
auction?
say there was a lot a lot of things that uh I mean it was let's put it this way, the auctions, the things that were good sold well.
Mm-hmm.
Almost a lot of that. I think most people felt that given the quality of what was up, and there was a lot with 3 auction houses over
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
4 days. There was a lot. The market hoovered it up.
Good. Yeah.
Um, not everything sold, but
Sure.
it seemed normal. In other words,
Okay. Good. Yeah. I mean, that's yes.
it didn't, and I had a visit from a friend of mine who's based in Spain and Paris, a young guy, and everybody seems to think that it's picked up in the last couple of months, not since the election, but since a bit before the election.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether people were saying there's a Trump bump, that economically, I I don't
Sure.
know
I mean,
if these same sales had been held a week before the election instead of a week after. I think they would not. There would have been more hesitancy, perhaps, but I don't know.
well, but no, but okay, but if they had been held when they were, but with a different election result, I think there will always be more hesitancy before an election because there's uncertainty. I mean, that's
The uncertainty, yeah.
yeah. So no, I mean, no. Okay, well, apparently 53% of Americans are confident with Trump's policies. I find this wild now. Like, I don't know who we are.
How do they know how do they know what those
Well, what
policies?
they perceive them to be, which is, again, I don't know
What
what
they
that
hope
means.
they will, what they hope they will
Yeah,
be
well,
based on
yeah.
him telling everybody of every different place, of every different race or economic, that he's gonna
What
make
that they're going to get what they want. Yeah, which is obviously not possible. Yeah,
But I guess this hope springs eternal, and I mean, you've got the devil, now you've got the devil,
right. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and apparently more New Yorkers 95,000 people in Manhattan voted for him. I think that's probably all the cops and the firemen.
Well, the cops don't live in New York.
They're
Well,
living still, yeah.
they live in Staten Island. Yeah, no, but no, okay. No, and here too, no, our local NPR KUOW did a deep dive into the Trump voters in our city, and they said overwhelmingly the economy. And again, I'm like, well, what do you do for a living? Because I don't think he's going to help everyone, and I don't, but. It's perception versus over and over. But you've got the devil now. How is your how has been and how is your weather? We had some dramatic weather this week.
Okay. I drove up. I'm in Campbell Hall. I drove last night. Mostly, at 4 o'clock or so.
Yes.
Snow.
Oh,
Yeah, it was rain. It was snowing, rain, and then snow. It's not it's on the ground,
yeah, 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 yeah.
but it's not snowing anymore. But you have a big weather. Did you have big weather?
We did. No, we had. Well, yeah, no, we had. It was called a bomb cyclone. That got some attention just because that sounds dramatic. It was mostly high winds, and it really was. It was winds of 65 miles an hour. Our power was knocked out. My power was knocked out. About 100,000 people still have their power.
Really?
Yes, still have their power out. Trees down. 2 people were killed. my power only went out overnight. But so yeah, again, like I said, people I know, my friends, their parents are showering at their house because their parents live in rural places where their power is still out.
How long did you lose food? I mean,
No, no, I actually was only, I was, well, there's probably bad food in my fridge now I think about it. But no, I was only without power overnight. But it is worrying because my furnace still doesn't work, and so I heat with electric. One night is okay, but if my power went out, like I know people who are staying in Airbnbs because their house is just not inhabitable right now.
Wow.
Other
And
people
when
are just,
was that?
what?
When?
Oh, it was probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, no, my bench was blown off my porch, but then I didn't realize it's really lightweight plastic. Like I mean, it's a big two-person bench, but it's
Yeah.
actually just hollow plastic. No, I mean, it felt very dramatic. I was huddled with my pets in the dark with
Really?
candles. Yeah,
Oh,
it was an event. It was an event.
did the Wi-Fi go out? I mean, did your phone?
It did, but I still had internet service on my phone. That never went
Okay.
out. So I was still, yeah, and I actually was broadcasting on YouTube.
Okay.
I had a battery powered record player and just doing my regular music show. And then I kind of felt guilty making light of it because I do live in, I mean, my power probably goes out about 3 times a year, which is new to me. When I lived in First Hill, your power it's an underground grid. Downtown and First Hill are powered by an underground grid. It's not wires. But where I live, it's densely populated, so even when it goes out, they fix it. I think the longest my power has ever been out is 8 hours, but they usually fix it within like 2 or 3. But then
Yeah.
after I realized people were without power for days, I felt guilty because I was kind of making light of it. For me, it's more just like an exciting little camping event with my
Yeah,
pets.
it's
But
not
it's
yeah, if you got babies and
yeah, no. I mean, hospitals were running on generators. It was a real event, and then now California is having flooding and things like that. So,
well,
do you know
the
it's are
gods are
the
angry.
said and are the wildfires still going on where you are, or they're out? They
Well,
were
that's
conti-
also interesting because there were fires in New Jersey,
right.
and when I drove back on Sunday into the city, there was one area where there was a lot of smoke across the road,
Yeah,
south of us, actually.
yeah,
There are parts of New York that apparently were burning. But there's nothing that's not now. I don't think it's burning anymore. But
right.
because we finally had rain. We had
Yeah,
rain 2 days ago, but there hadn't been any rain at all for 2 months. I don't know how long, but
yeah. So
So,
do we want to talk about any of these cabinet picks, which are already
well,
Saramucciing themselves?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a circus. It's a circus in town. I mean, when you have somebody who is friendly with Bashar Assad and Putin and everybody, who's going to be the head of national intelligence, then I mean, I don't think she's going to get confirmed. I think Chuck
With
Schumer.
Gabbard, you're specifically Gabbard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Democrats are doing the right thing, which is actually to not comment at all and
Yes.
to let the Republicans fight among themselves.
Yeah, I call it eating their tails. I mean, I predict even with control of all parts of the government, they'll get almost nothing done because they don't get along with each other. All they do is eat each other's tails. It's just a circle of, like hyenas in a. So
Yeah.
I agree. Just stand back and let them do that for now. Don't even engage yet.
I also, I mean, it's maybe naive of me, but those departments of whether it's defense or whatever it is, they are such huge lumbering bureaucracies. I don't think that when whoever gets to sit at the desk at the top of the building, I think pretty quickly finds out that they are not king of that department. They cannot just say, well, fire all these people or do all this. In other words, there's a built-in inertia to
Yes.
government.
Yeah. No. Well, yes.
And I don't know if anything, I don't know. I don't know if it can, I don't think,
Yes and
I
no.
think you need more than 4 years to make these kind of change. I don't think you can make a sweeping.
Right. I mean, and to a certain, no, to a certain extent, I believe that too. I think the systems have, I mean, it is designed in a way with the assumption that the person at the very top could completely switch allegiances every 4 years. And so there is a certain degree of self-protection against the type of whimsy that Trump is intentionally invoking, the type of chaos.
I mean, both houses have more or less, with hearings, stuck to the idea that they will try together to get a decent person, right? I mean, historically, that's been the case.
Right.
Someone who may not have the same politics as the Democrats, but who at least has shown some ability in that area, whether it's defense or justice or
Right.
housing. I don't know. I mean, these people have no. I mean, if the commentator on Fox News is in, I mean, it's like, you pick anybody off the street. I think he picks people because of their looks, actually.
Oh, no. I mean, it is almost impossible not to. I mean, I think there are a few criteria, but yeah, do you have a Fox News haircut is very high on that list. I mean, if you're a man, it has to be
women have to be blonde.
Women have to be blonde, and it has to be like a helmet, and men has to be like a little kind of military butch, because he's really into that, it's central casting. It is central casting, and your actual qualifications don't matter at all. Well, no. Okay, a few things there. One, it's been noted some of these people, like Pam Bondi, her job isn't going to be to run things so much as go on Fox News and be his cheerleader. That's the real role. So that's why she was picked. It doesn't have anything to do with her qualifications for the role itself. The other guy, the Fox News, the Fox Weekend guy. We all got the doggos this week. There's something there. I mean, KUOW did a sort of he's doing something with these hirings, specifically of people who have charges, and he's saying, I mean, this is kind of a you can't Me Too. I mean, he's purposely picking these people. I mean,
he is. He's picking people who have suffered the same way he has from these vindictive charges about sexual misbehavior, right?
And it is, and it's an explicit. We will protect them,
yeah,
and therefore not I mean, it's. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's. You obviously, again, just like that guy's tattoos, you can't ever prove it. That's the purpose of a dog whistle. You're not. No, I mean, if you said to Donald Trump, "Are you hiring these people because they have histories of assault?" Of course, he would say, "That's ridiculous. No one would do that." But you can't prove it, but it is. It's built. It's part of the package. It's part of what he's doing.
It's part of the resume.
It's the moving of the needle, and it's the normalizing of it. And that's, I mean, yeah. So it is. I mean, yeah. It's a clown car, but it's also like, no. I think yes, the system has mechanisms in place to protect against it, but they also. Again, Project 2025 is 900 pages of how they analyzed it from their first attempts, much of what failed, and what they'll do faster and starting on day one this time. And we'll see how we will have to wait and see. And my hope, it's terrifying that my hopes are now pinned on people like Mitch McConnell, who maybe will do the right thing sometimes, but that's all we got. I mean,
the purple state senators. I mean, the
Murkowski and Susan Collins. Yeah, and again, they're not. They're they're still Republicans. At the end of the day, I mean, they're.
Yeah.
We'll see. No, yeah. What
So
else?
I
Oh,
have found I wanted to throw this out
yep.
because it never occurred to me. I have a nice guy for physical therapy. You know, he's actually a trainee.
Hmm.
He recently he's been in the military.
Yep.
Very, very nice guy, very good sense of humor. And we were chatting because he was dating this girl from Canada and talking about green cards and then college. And he said, because I was wounded, anybody in my family can go to college for free.
Yes.
State college, right?
Yes.
And I said, well, I hope, I said, how were you wounded? He said, oh, he said, I wasn't wounded in, you know, he talked about snow and carrying a big backpack. But I mean, he obviously he suffered some, you know.
Sure.
Then we were talking about that and the Veterans Administration and how basically how much it does for veterans.
Yes, sure.
And he said, you know, the whole purpose of the VA is insurance. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you've got a huge number of people trained in the military. And if they decide to take the political, if there's a revolution and they're hungry, you're in trouble.
Oh, huh.
In other words, that feeding your ex-soldiers,
Yeah.
the government doing that keeps them friendly to the government, whether it's
No, well, okay,
in other
yes,
words,
yes.
so January the 6th was perhaps, you know, showed that that's not always the case, but maybe it would have been worse if there were more disaffected ex-soldiers. In other words, if they didn't have college benefits, if they didn't have medical,
Yes.
if they didn't have whatever, you know, whatever we're taxpayers are paid.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay. Here's what I don't understand, and I don't think the history of the military is your area either.
No.
Going back to World War II, military benefits are really credited with creating the middle class in America. I mean, the GI Bill and people being able to, military benefits, the GI Bill, in conjunction with these suburban developments of tract homes which were affordable, created this, you know, this very 50s, you know, the I Love Lucy, the television in the living room, you know. By the 60s, though, why were veterans coming back homeless from Vietnam? Like, what was happening there? Was it that they had cut the benefits, or because then they were joining the counterculture? Then they were, in fact, disaffected.
Well, yeah, I talked to them about that because they were joining both sides. There were Vietnam veterans who came back fully supporting the military.
Yes. No. Yes.
And there were ones who basically joined the hippies.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I tend to think that although they were very visible in the press, that numerically neither of those were anything near the majority.
Okay.
I think the majority came back. I don't think the job market was nearly as good. I think after World War II, I mean, I don't know where the money came from.
Yes.
But it was very different in Europe. But there was no.
Well, no, I know you were born as the war was ending, and there were still rations as your childhood, as you talk about in your memoir.
I mean, people weren't starving, but it was austere.
Yes, there were austerity measures. Yes,
There was no college for soldiers. No,
Mhm.
They'd be lucky to get jobs fixing cars or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
No, it
they
was very.
went
You're
back,
right. Very
they
different.
generally went back into the same civilian jobs. And if they were officers, they went back to work in a bank or insurance company.
Yeah.
And if they were grunts, they went back to work in the garage
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and they'd be lucky to have their old job. No, whatever it was that created the suburban planning and the middle class. I don't know who was that, Truman. I don't know who that was. That it was,
Yeah.
but it was engineered. I mean, it
Yes.
was
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
successfully engineered. So, but I was just fascinated because I'd never thought of it as being a way to prevent, I mean, benefits for soldiers, not just being perhaps a just reward for having served their country, but because it's lifelong, right?
Yeah.
That it can keep them from becoming radicalized,
No,
basically.
and I appreciate you mentioning January 6th because again, from where I am on the left, I think a lot about the three percenters, the militia, the people who are sort of have the Venn diagram between military and these people who are very anti-government. But I think, like you said in the Vietnam era, they're the exception, not the rule. And even though they are more visible, especially in the spheres that
Yeah,
I move
I
in,
think they're a very vocal minority, but ironically, they're still getting their benefit. I mean,
no,
they
yeah,
have the luxury of I don't know, of going to Washington with their guns or their
right,
twos or whatever because they're getting VA benefits.
yes, yeah.
I mean, I bet they still are, even if they're in jail now.
Sure. Well, I think they do. Yes. Yes. No. Unless they were dishonorably discharged, which some of them were. But no. Yeah. Okay. And you have not been, and you were never significantly on X, formerly known as Twitter.
No,
People are talking now a second big exodus. Some companies are making, and journalism in particular. And to me, I'm like, I mean, I love The Guardian. I think The Guardian is one of the most trustworthy news sources. But for them to say, after the election, after Elon Musk is in the position, after he's already spent $1 million a day basically buying votes, to say, we've thought about it and we think now is the time. I'm very cynical.
what are they doing?
They're leaving X. They were continuing to post stories. Journalists in particular, in my mind, are what have kept X continuing to be a, despite Trump, not Trump, yeah, in my mind, Elon Musk and Trump are basically the same. Despite Musk's ownership, it still is a source of information because journalists continue to use it. Now more journalists are backing off. At the same time, advertisers are actually going back because they want to curry favor. So companies like Disney and Warner Brothers Plus. But the main thing is just regular folks are saying, I'm done. I'm going to Blue Sky. I'm going to these other ones. To me, I'm a little bit cynical about now, but I also, yeah, I mean, the day he bought it is when I quit, and that's 2 years ago, and I'm never going back. All of it. Any thoughts on him, the ownership, this idea of a town square?
Okay. The only social media that I use
Is Instagram.
is Instagram. So I'm not on Facebook and I don't, probably it's a good thing because I can get distracted just by having the New York Times online.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe this is congruent to what you were saying, but I'm in total agreement with the New York Post on one issue, which is that I was appalled that Joe Scarborough and his wife went to meet Trump.
And
I stopped watching him a long time ago,
right,
basically because I don't like his attitude and hair. But On hers, I don't like her attitude in here either, but basically, although I agreed, I mean, basically agreed with them politically, more or less, but I believe this is because their ratings were going through the floor. This is a craven attempt to sustain them, to sustain their, I don't know, viability through the next 4 years.
Okay. Well, okay. No, no, no. I no, no. Yeah, no. That one was really weird, and especially them justifying it. Like they went on air to talk about why they did and why now, and it's just time for change. But yeah, no, it all felt like you said, exact craven. At the same time, as a whole, all these think pieces, James Carville, who you and I both despise, basically just saying, well, the Democrats were too woke, and that's what lost them. It's time to throw marginalized communities under the bus. It's time to stop being the party of. I mean, even Bernie Sanders was called out by a journalist for saying that and then he had to walk it back, and he said, no, the Democrats have always been the party of civil rights. The Democrats have always been the party of supporting gay people, but we have to. I don't know what he was saying because he was sort of talking in circles, and I love Bernie Sanders, but talk about that less, basically, and talk about working class values more, which to me is, again, pandering to people who hate those things, who hate people. You know, it was just Trans Day of Remembrance, and they're talking about bathroom bans. I really appreciate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pointing out these types of things that they're doing, that Mike Johnson and Nancy Mace are doing, endangers women and girls. It is entitling people to say, I want to see your genitals, which is, it is not, that's not a safe for anyone. These people, it's dangerous, and standing up for that is important. Kamala Harris never made it about the campaign. It wasn't like she went on the trail campaigning with a line of drag queens behind her. But when she was asked, you know, do you believe in, you know, gender affirming care? She said yes. That's all she did. But now that's going too far is I don't know. So
everybody's a Monday. What do they call it? A Monday morning quarterback.
Oh yeah, comment. Yes, yeah.
And I mean it started immediately. It probably started at midnight that the columnists were beginning to re-engineer their opinions and what went wrong and I told you so, or
yep.
I mean it kind of, I mean, the Democrats have never been united. I mean, it's not a party of people who agree on a policy. I mean, if you say it's a party for the people, yes, but there are lots of different kinds of people.
Yes.
And obviously a lot of them, they were too bored to vote, or they weren't stimulated enough. Maybe it wasn't long enough.Maybe she hadn't campaigned. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. I think the country drifted right. I mean, that
is evident, and that yes,
it will after 4 pretty miserable, chaotic years drift back to the center. I mean, there's no way that what he's going to try to do will work for anybody other than Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and their tax accountants, right?
Right. No. Right. But fundamentally, if the right is the party of activating hate, is the party of accusing of immigrants of really wild things, accusing schools of really wild things, is standing up to that fundamentally the wrong position? I mean, I'm talking, and to me, I'm like, well, I'm going to
stood up to. It's got to be stood up to. It has to be stood up to by Democratic states and Democratic politicians, and if there's a narrow, if the Republicans have knife edge majorities, then the Democrats have to do all of that they can to push whatever power they have.
Yeah.
slow things down or throw a spanner in the works, or, I mean, all the Republicans have been doing is making sure that as little as possible could get done.
Right. No, and no, and that's yes.
Democrats can
No.
do the same thing,
Right.
and the
No,
country is going to survive.
it's funny you said throw a spanner. I wear a shirt that says abolish the filibuster, but now you hear Democrats talking about how important the filibuster will be actually, and that's I mean it's so yeah, no, use the tools that are available. They do, and I'm not saying play every dirty trick that they do, don't play every underhanded thing, but yeah, use the tools that are available. I definitely think it's going to be important. Well, speaking of eating their own tails, they're already talking about they're going to use Elon Musk's super PAC to primary other Republicans who don't 100% go along with Trump. So they're using their own money again. It's not even just their own. They're using their own money against one another. They're already. I mean,
Yeah.
all of that does help Democrats in the end. Anything else? What are you looking forward to this week? What are you?
Gladiator 2.
Okay, you're excited about that? You're
I don't know if I'm excited about it, but I've been told that I'm going to see it in a theater. So
yeah. No, I mean no,
So,
it's and then Wicked is the other one that this is almost like the new Barbenheimer.
yeah, I haven't. I never saw Wicked. I don't.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't.
I know vaguely what it's about,
Yeah.
and I don't have a great interest in it.
I don't know why I don't because I love musicals, but I think it's because I came too late and the fandom was already so
Yeah.
intense that I couldn't find my way in. Like it was yeah, no, Wicked doesn't interest me. Gladiator 2 does. Animals. Not no spoilers, no specific spoilers, but
Moana, is that how you
what?
pronounce it? Moana, the Disney?
Yeah, the live action one. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
I
excited
might,
for that one?
well, not excited, but I'm told that I'm going to see it.
Oh, are we already into Christmas plans or Thanksgiving plan or like is that you're just gonna
There's
see?
a movie called Red for Christmas.
I don't know that one. What's that?
All I know is, the big muscly guy who's a good comedian. What's his name?
Rock? It's
The
Rock. Oh,
Rock.
it is. Is it a Christmas? Is it J.K.
Yeah,
Simmons as Christmas as yeah, as Santa Claus? Okay, I do know that one. Okay, sounds
So,
good. Yeah.
right.
All
I
right.
gotta feed these guys now.
Yeah. Have a good week. I love
Lots of
you.
love, Bob. Have a good week.
Bye.
Keep out of the storm. Keep
Yeah,
out of.
no, it's we're fine now. It was yeah, but it was a crazy couple of days and some people still have. All right, I love you. Bye.